All right, welcome, folks, to the IU Hoops halftime report. I'm Jerod Morris. It is 43-33 here. Your Indiana Hoosiers with the lead. Indiana kind of nursed a 4 or 5 point lead there for about 10 minutes, and then had a nice little spurt at the end of the half there, led by the freshman. Jerome Hunter knocks down that three as a trailer. He would hit another one a few possessions later. Great to see, and the confidence that he shot that second one with. He shot the first one confidently too, but you could tell he made that one, then he wanted to get another one, and that is a great sign to see from Jerome Hunter, knocking down that outside shot, really getting into the flow of the game. And then, a great possession also, Trace Jackson Davis with the block, got it out to Armand Franklin. Armand scored. So a really nice sequence there from Indiana's freshman that pushed it from a 5-point lead out to a 10-point lead, which is nice to get a little bit of a cushion going into the half there for Indiana. I think when you look at that first half, I thought there were times when Indiana had some good offensive motion, some good movement, especially early, but it really, really stagnated. Once the bench got in, we kind of saw that offensive movement stagnate a little bit, and it took them a little while to get back into it. But, when you look at what Indiana has done well offensively today, you may recall that, we've talked a lot in the offseason about the importance of shot volume for this Indiana team. Not a team that's going to be great in isolation scoring, not a team that's going to shoot a high volume of three-pointers. So what do those teams need to do? Well, you need to get more shot attempts than other teams, and that means that, you really need to limit turnovers. You really need to get offensive rebounds because, that's going to help you just get more shots. And Indiana's really done that today. 6 turnovers in the first half, which isn't maybe great, but it's good enough, especially against, some pressure that Portland State puts out there. We know Archie wants to have 10 or fewer per game. But only 6. You can certainly live with that. And then also 9 offensive rebounds. Indiana really crashing the offensive glass aggressively, especially Justin Smith and Race Thompson. Both of those guys have really done a nice job. And Indiana has 14 second chance points. So you're turning those 9 offensive rebounds into second chance points. And I think that, along with really pushing the ball in transition, Indiana with 10 fast break points as well. So, the Hoosiers, despite, I think, some possessions in the half court that Archie Miller probably didn't like and would like to see a little bit more movement on, they're doing the other things that you want to see them do. They're getting the ball inside, 24 points in the paint. They're pushing it when the opportunities present themselves. And again, getting on the offensive glass and turning those offensive rebounds into points. So that's really been good to see. And a lot of balanced scoring. Indiana has played, 10 guys have played? No, 9 guys have played because Demizi didn't get in there. Apparently he's dealing with a slight injury, nothing serious, so that may be why he didn't play. But of the 9 guys who have played, 8 have scored, 7 have 4 or more points, and the high score has 8. So really balanced scoring, which I think is what you'll see. And Justin Smith leads the way with 8 points. And he's really done a nice job. Again, the 3 offensive rebounds, he's turned those into points. He's got 2 dunks in the half court, which is not something that you often see, but he had that one really nice drive on the baseline where he was aggressive, had the other one where he got the ball at the top of the key, drove in. That's been nice to see, and no turnovers again from Justin. So we continue to see him using his dribble effectively in the half court, which is not something that he did well last year, both to create passing angles and to create scoring angles for himself. Now, let's flip to the other side of the court, because this, I'm assuming, is where the coaching staff is going to be focusing, at halftime, because I don't think Indiana's played very well defensively. I think what you've seen, we know, in terms of pack line defense principles, the number one thing is you want to contain the dribblers on the perimeter. That's why the guards are so important in the pack line defense. You don't want to be allowing a whole lot of dribble penetration into the lane, and it really feels like Portland State has kind of been able to get into the lane whenever they've wanted to. Now, they haven't been great at converting. They're only 5 for 15 on layups, and I think Indiana's length, what Trace Jackson Davis is able to provide, and some of the shot challenges Indiana's been able to have, that has helped. But they're just getting into the lane too much. They've shot 14 free throws. I thought one of the keys coming into the game, Boo Boo Woods, their guard, number 11, he is not a guy who is a very good three-point shooter. He's only taken 1. He's missed it. But he is a guy who likes to get to the line. He's 7 of 8 from the free throw line. So we're allowing them to kind of do what they want offensively. And frankly, they've just been more aggressive and tougher driving in. We're giving ground too much. Haven't really helped very much. there have been a couple times where we've helped well, or you've seen guys stunt. There was one play in particular where Woods drove into the lane. Al Durham was really alert off the ball, kind of stunted in and disrupted what Woods wanted to do. And instead of going up for a little floater, he kind of turned and passed it, and it ended up being a turnover. But for the most part, the help hasn't been there, and there's just been too many kind of open lanes for driving. And so I think that's something that definitely needs to get cleaned up. It hasn't been a real tough performance on the perimeter by Indiana's guards. I think Rob Finney has done a pretty decent job when he's been on Woods, but like Al Durham, for example, I don't think has played a very good defensive game. Justin Smith, I think, has been a little bit slow to rotate defensively, hasn't done a very good job of containing dribblers when he's been on, tasked to guard someone on the perimeter. So that has not been good. On the bright side defensively, Portland State, the number one team in the country last year in terms of offensive rebounding percentage, they have missed 18 shots, and they've only rebounded 3 of them. So Indiana has really done a nice job on the glass, although I will say, 2 of those rebounds came on one possession toward the end of the half, and I thought it was a really important possession where you need to secure the rebound. Jerome Hunter had just hit the three-pointer. Indiana was up 11, I think, at that point. You've kind of got the crowd into it. There's a chance you might be able to blow the doors open on this game at the end of the first half. If you secure that rebound, go the other way, you've really got something. And Indiana didn't get the rebound. In fact, gave up 2 offensive rebounds. Mike Roberts was apoplectic on the bench. You could see him. I mean, he was upset because those are the kind of rebounds you really need to get that can then kind of keep the momentum going, and Indiana didn't do it. But for the most part, on the offensive glass or on the defensive glass, Indiana's done a nice job. So, overall, again, Indiana up by 10. There have been some positives that you can take from it, especially I think from the young guys off the bench. And I haven't talked enough about Race Thompson, who, in his 8 minutes has 6 points and 6 boards, is just tough out there, man. Defensively, again, I think like most guys, he didn't play very well. And, when guys were driving on him or trying to guard movement, he didn't really do a very good job of doing it. But once the ball was up on the glass, boy, he really went and attacked those rebounds and did a nice job. And again, tied for the lead in rebounds, only playing 8 minutes, and was able to turn some of those into points as well. So, he's just got a toughness about him. And I think, as he gets more comfortable playing, as Jerome Hunter gets more comfortable playing, you kind of saw in that half what those guys are going to be able to bring. Race brings that toughness, the ability to rebound, the ability to score off of those rebounds, and Jerome Hunter's got that inside-outside game where he can really be an explosive scorer. So, that to me is probably the biggest takeaway from that first half. Really nice to see. One other thing that I wanted to mention that I thought was, kind of a bugaboo for Indiana in the first half, Rob Finney, I thought, did some good things, has 4 assists, and Indiana only with 5 assists on 15 made field goals, which is not good. You definitely want to see that number be higher. But, Rob, every time he's gone into the paint, nothing good has happened. He hasn't been, he's taken a couple of wild shots, has made a couple of bad passes. Just his decision-making when he gets into the paint still just isn't there. There's kind of a tentativeness, and we've kind of seen it in the first few games, that hopefully as he kind of knocks that rust off from not being able to practice, we'll see get a little bit better. But 11 for 15 from the line, which is good, 73.3%. I think as you look to keys to the second half, number one, I would expect this team to come out and play with much more purpose on the defensive side of the ball. Really don't think the coaches are going to be happy with what they saw defensively, giving up a point per possession to Portland State. That's not good enough. This is not a very good shooting team. This is not a great scoring team, but they are tough and they are fast. And right now, their toughness and their speed with the basketball is killing us on that end of the court. So really need to pick that up because obviously we're going to see tougher and faster as the season goes along. So I really want to see that improve. Would like to see the offensive movement in the half court be a little bit more consistent. But more than that, continue to do otherwise what they've been doing offensively, which is getting out in transition, getting the ball inside, but then finding opportunities for some outside shots like what Jerome Hunter did. But I really feel like overall the shot selection has been pretty good offensively. But for me, a lot of the keys in this half go to the other side. What does Indiana do defensively? This is the kind of game I think where you really want to see Indiana put the clamps down. Can we keep them under 20 points in the second half and establish that identity? Because right now, that first half didn't seem like a team that hangs their hat on defense, and that's what Archie Miller wants. So I want to see a team that comes out in the second half and really hangs their hat on defense. And we'll see. And we'll break it all down in the postgame show. It's me. It's Coach. After the game, join us. assemblycall.com, or right here on YouTube. We will be here breaking it all down for you as soon as it's over. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here for the halftime report, and we will talk to you on the postgame show afterwards. See ya.